as always. During the second half of the show, we will look at some of the headlines in details, and our in-house analyst is already standing by to do that. So we start off with the Tribune newspaper. From the front page of the Tribune, the budget story, just like other newspapers, lead the pack. 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget presented by the President to the National Assembly. And still staying with that budget 2025, your tax reform initiative groundbreaking, Akpabio tells Tinubu. And why we revised down NNPCL's 20% stake to 7.24%. This is according to Dangote Refinery. All right, we move on to the Punch newspaper, and leads with this very, very unfortunate tragedy that happened in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Ibadan Fun Fair tragedy on his ex-wife, others face probe as 32 children feared killed. Very sad story there. And gridlock grounds Lagos-Ibadan Expressway as driver dies in crash. PSC promotes over 8,000 police officers. And FG plans 13 trillion naira loan as Tinubu presents 49 trillion naira 2025 budget. AGF to meet Senate panel on tax reform bills today. And EFCC closes case in 30 million naira fraud case. World Bank seeks action to shield poorer nations from climate shocks. And NAFDAC shuts down illegal cosmetic factory in Lagos. And so many others on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We move on to Daily Trust newspaper, and a list with the demolition story. Victims cry out as FCTA demolishes 20,000 structures. And still staying with Daily Trust, $1 billion loan, your statement misleading. Dangote replies NNPCL. And PDP crisis, North Central leaders insist on chairmanship. We move on to the Nation newspaper. Economy rapidly responding to reform stimulus, says President Bola Tinubu. And 2024 enrollment in NHIS, highest ever, says Minister of Sport, Professor Party. And Minister of Health, I beg your pardon. Contractual differences slowed down Bodo Boni Road project completion. And Speaker Abbas to President Tinubu, your desire to reposition Nigeria disrupted the status quo. And ensure passport issuance within 6 weeks, court orders Interior Minister NIS. And 32 feared dead in Ibadan stampede. Customs announces VAT removal from LPG and CNG. And the Leadership newspaper, Yuletide, passengers groan as flight tickets to Southeast near 1 million naira. Okay. And this day newspaper, targeting inflation at 15%. Tinubu presents 49 trillion naira 2025 budget proposal. And at $42 billion, Nigeria's external reserves can finance 9-month import. This is according to the CBN. A minister vows to ensure zero tolerance for unfair labor practices. PDP faults 2025 appropriation bill, says it's hopeless and anti-people. Still staying with this day newspaper, Tinubu names chairman, MDs, executive directors for 12 River Basin Development Authority. We move on to the Guardian newspaper now, and the paper leads with the budget story. 2025 appropriation bill, Tinubu eyes 15% inflation rate from 49 trillion naira budget to spend 2% on agriculture. And state governors playing politics with minimum wage, civil servants allege. Governance failure fueling violent extremism as FG commits to tackling insecurity. And Dangote denies NNPCL $1 billion support claim, crude oil obligation default. CBN restricts agency banks to 1.2 million naira daily transaction limit. And federal government approves zero import duty VAT on CNG LPG equipment. Still staying with the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria creates 35 new standards for ICT education. An intersection of law, cybersecurity, and democracy in navigating legal disputes. NAFDAC alerts Nigerians to fake Plodex tablet. And NCS foils attempt to smuggle 107 million naira worth of cannabis sativa on waterways. And this is dismiss insinuation of substandard first-class awards in private varsity. Afenifere seeks immediate release of Farotomi, threatens legal action. And Governor Yusuf talks tough on tackling political thuggery, empowering youths. And tax reforms, Clark urges national restructuring, equitable system. And ministers task state on creation of livestock ministries. And Cross River communities CP differ on over herdsmen attack claims. And Governor Adeleke orders probe into 17-year-old sentenced to death over fowl theft. And court jails Diri 8 for assault. PSC, that's the Police Service Commission, elevates 8,000 senior police officers. And Carnival tragedy, Oyo State says organizers found culpable won't go unpunished. And NCS, that's the Nigerian Customs Service, announces zero import duty on gas utilization equipment. Amatekun nabbed 7 suspected criminals in Ondo State. And other stories you can get on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. We move on to the Vanguard newspaper now. Presidential elections between Ghana, Nigeria. 7 reasons beavers may never walk in Nigeria. That's according to investigation by the Vanguard newspaper. And the landing cost of petrol drops to 970 naira per litre. This is according to marketers. And federal government plans to improve power supply with $750 million World Bank loan. Okay, 2025, Tinubu seeks 34 trillion naira revenue to fund 49 trillion naira budget. Abuja demolitions, armed soldiers attack development control of officials, cut away vehicles. And NACO targets groups revenue of 300 billion naira. Nigeria's $42 billion external reserves can finance 9 months import. This is from the CBN. The new civic platform launches to track politicians, rates Tinubu government. And budget 2025, FG 21 states vote 3.8 trillion naira to healthcare. And video that has been trending since yesterday from the National Assembly. You are all elected, Tinubu tells 10th NAS lawmakers. Yes, we move on to penpushing.com. Penpushing.com is a source of authentic news globally, and the headline story here reads: Children's Carnival turns in Ibadan. Many fear dead in stampede. That's a very unfortunate story there. Yinka Ayefele releases end-of-year music delicacy on digital platforms. You can still find the story too on penpushing.com.ng. And still talking about penpushing.com, National Bureau of Statistics website hacked. Okay. Over half of Nigerians ready to japa to escape economic hardship, says research network. And that story you can find on penpushing.com.ng. And stop sensationalizing foul theft. Olowokere and Morakinyo committed armed robbery caught with arms. So the details you can find on penpushing.com.ng. All right, we'll take a short break now. When we return, we will look at some of the stories in details. Please don't go away. It's still newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Oya o my people, make una come gather here. Which kind tori una wan hear on top radio? Wetin dey catch fire on top social media? Bring am on top Make We Talk Am for Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Monday go reach Thursday, and the time na 5:10 wey be 10 minutes after 5. Make we talk am as e dey be. Oya o my people, make una come gather here.
The issues.
Everybody respected that because it was coming from the president.
Theory behind it, the way the people took the battle in their hands.
Some civil servants retire without a wage.
the cause.
If we cannot trust you, then you cannot take the ticket of this country. Hussein cannot be divulged from those who cause the crime. Honestly.
The passion.
You must have national spread. So where is it?
Same.
Insight on Citizen FM 93.7.
The source is constant.
My name is Lawrence Umoite.
There is always an opportunity. 7 FM Abuja. Be part of the experience.
The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of...
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. And thank you by calling us on our regular numbers 0903 2229797. That's 0905 or 0818 2222206. Don't forget that you can also send us a WhatsApp message on any of these numbers, and even you can even make a WhatsApp call and we will. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to you, our presenter, and our teaming citizen listeners.
Yes, Mr. Salman is vast institutional memory to help us navigate some of the stories we are going to pull up for discussion. The National Trillion Naira budget. And let's take the story. President Bola Tinubu yesterday presented what he described as an ambitious but pragmatic budget of 4 weeks to the end of the year.
Quite an ambitious statement of intention, because that precisely is what a budget is. It's just a state of all the assumptions come true, because there are underlying assumptions before a budget. And Mr. President came up with this ambition, letting that statement of intention into reality is the issue. And what is reality? Reality is not mere statistics given by the Office of Bureau for Improvement in the life of Nigerians. If it has translated into that, it has become a tradition. I won't say Olo tradition. For the government, years since, to present a budget. And we are praying against undue delay of the passage of the budget, that they implement the budget to the letters in such a way that Nigerians will heave a sigh of relief, and it will be a remarkable departure from what...
I agree with you that sometimes it's the implementation that really matters to the people, and the passage will go through as we normally see, but it's implementation. Most of the time, at the end of the year, when you take stock, you ask yourself, what was the level of implementation? I understand that the 2024 budget, we had like about 50% level of implementation. So it's the level of implementation that matters, and we hope that agencies of government, MDAs, ministries, departments, will also live up to their billing to do that. But yesterday, the president also showed why he's a politician. So that means you are all re-elected. And that shows how witty the president
is about becoming an embarrassment. And he quickly came to that conclusion. And he thought through immediately. And the thing became a joke. Of course, it was a slip of the tongue. And it could have happened to anybody.
And I'm sure if the president into that, a lot of people would have gone to town with that and made a complete mincemeal of that. You remember that this is the era of politics, Mr. Salami.
Politicians will not stop.
All right, Mr. Salami, let's look at this story before we go to some other story. And it's about the alarm raised by NAFDAC. NAFDAC alerts Nigeria. And we know that NAFDAC has been up and doing in terms of protecting Nigerians and making sure that the health of Nigerians are protected. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has alerted the public to the sale and distribution of counterfeit Palodox tablets and suspensions across Nigeria. In a statement on its X handle, NAFDAC said Palodox in Enugu. It said the counterfeit drugs were being marketed by MD Life Science Limited and Mene Industrial Layout, also in Enugu. The statement disclosed that NAFDAC also found in circulation a Palodox dry powder for oral suspension by Impact Pharmaceutical, also by WHO pre-qualified laboratory in Germany, indicated 0% active pharmaceutical ingredient in the product. Mrs. Salami, how vicious can people be?
0% active pharmaceutical means that what you are about to take or taking is, to put it mildly, a chalk. Meanwhile, that is where I'm purportedly are taking a go from here to commend NAFDAC. NAFDAC is just one of the agencies of the government that we should be proud of, just as we are proud of ND. So it's billing, because what they are doing has to do with life. It's a matter of life that our mama hardly sleeps. Quite many of us who are lucky and privileged to have a number, you will see her online. Not be too annoyed. Understood that
too is a patriot. Remember, he was also in the Senate, so he knows what it means to devote your life to the cause of the nation.
It only means the late Akunyili's era, that good era is gone and gone forever. Here we are now.
It's back, certainly.
Here we are.
Mojisola, they is seen all over the place, in press conferences, in leading operations, sometimes explaining matters, a program voice, and she's so passionate. But I know that yes, types of people are in down illegal companies. The battle they had in Kano State with the drug traders and everything. So it's one of the jobs that, you know, yesterday we were talking about the risk involved in working for people, unscrupulous Nigerians.
Honest about life of Nigerians. Honestly, she deserves an award.
And your drinks, you see it in that boys' quarter, you know that something is wrong. And you reach out to NAFDAC, and any local government you go today in Nigeria, you will find a NAFDAC office. Any state in Nigeria today, you will find a NAFDAC office. Volunteer that information and say, in this area, help save lives.
We will not profile any tribe or any race. It's a Nigerian case. And Nigerians should please think of as yourself. Because if you love your neighbor, you will not engage in this type of heinous and really saddening exercise. All because of money. Is money everything?
Wow.
Can money be everything? Money can never be everything. Nobody is saying that money is not good.
Can certainly not bring back life once it's gone. So this is us from Citizen 93.7, encouraging the officers and men of
especially the leadership,
from the leadership to all of them, and saying kudos, Nigerians are behind you. Do not get tired, do not get frustrated. Help this nation, because
we are proud of you, and we have nothing, gold or silver. We do not have any. Either we do not have, but we support you in our prayers. And God of mercy, God who knows that.
If you're on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja, you can join the conversation. You can call us on 0903-22-29797. You can also call us on 0818-2222-205 or 0818-2222-206. Still talking about foils attempts to smuggle 107.2 million naira worth of cannabis sativa on waterway. cannabis sativa along the Ajido waterway in the Yakeme axis. Addressing journalists in Lagos, the customs area controller of the command said the intercepted consignment weighed a total of 538 kilograms. And as it's Salame.
Lawrence, you know we have been talking about rewarding hardship and not rewarding bad behavior. Especially the foremost ones that we have seen them and they are known to be working for Nigerians. It Customs Service, Nigerian Customs Service, foiled another one. This is not the first time. This is not. I think there is the need to appreciate them. And when you do not do good, you should be punished. I think we should get our reward system right. Because it does not necessarily mean negative one. This time around, we have aforementioned agencies
of government. All right, Mr. Salam, let's move on to the Punch newspaper now. This time, there's unfortunate tragedy that happened in the alleged death of 32 children during a stampede at a fun fair in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The newspaper gathered from multiple eyewitnesses account that the stampede occurred when participants rushed to gain access to the venue of the event, reportedly organized by the nations, show that the victims were stampeded to death while trying to break through the main gates of the school. It was further gathered that provisions were made for 7,500. Mr. Salam.
Somber moment. Very, very sad one. Especially when unintended consequence of while we are waiting the outcome of the investigation with the soul of the departed. Me, it's an irreparable and irreplaceable loss. With the soul of the children rest in perfect peace.
Amen. It's really a sad one, and it's, just like you said, unintended consequences, and that's why a lot of the time we need to pay attention to details, especially when we are doing things. You know, history has been replaced with cases of stampede in Nigeria. I remember that very infamous one. I think during the recruitment of the Interior Ministry.
The man is senator, and nothing happened. He allowed the same thing to repeat itself. It's because there is no punishment, there is no consequence. When you saw the number, it is remains what it is. Unintended consequence of the act of good intention. Good intention is not enough. Lawrence, no matter how good your intention is, it is not good enough if the outcome is what?
Is negative. Yeah, so as I was saying, we need to pay attention to details, planning ahead, and those little things that we take for granted could cause loss of life. And once the lives are gone, whatever you're doing is cosmetic. You can't bring back those lives and at the end of the day. So you want to organize events,
crowd control.
You have to pay attention to that.
Including crowd control.
Very, very important. Very, very important. The moment you know that what you're going to do will attract and plan ahead. That's it. Because sometimes we tend to underplay the services of these experts. You tend to talk about the food you.
Everybody is now a consultant.
So it's very, very sad. Very, very sad. Children. When you have children lose their lives like that, so many ministers gone there, so many governors gone, so many doctors, so many lawyers, pilots, and future leaders just wipe out like that. So sad, like that. The Federal High Court has said that the Interior Minister and the NIS, that's the Nigerian Immigration Service, to always because it's in line with Section 9 of the Immigration Act. Justice Emeka Wite issued the order in a judgment he delivered on a fundamental right enforcement suit filed by an aggrieved Nigerian, Benita Ngozi, filed against the NIS and the minister. Izama claimed to have applied for Nigeria's international passport and met all the requirements as at October 6, 2022, but claimed that the NIS failed to issue her the passport 14 weeks after submitting application. Mr. Samuel, you know why I picked the story. Everyone will agree that the NIS has really improved its services. The Interior Minister also has been acclaimed to have injected new lease of life in that sector. Correct, to delay issuing of passport. But I was just thinking, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you wouldn't be complaining. In fact, you will celebrate if your passport is provided under 6 months or 8 months.
I still believe that Mr. Is he a doctor now? Olubunmi Ojo is one of our performing ministers within a stipulated time. And this woman said she applied in 2022. Apparently, this man was not in charge as at that time. I'm not making excuses for him, and I'm not his CPS or his spokesperson. I want to believe they will do the job better than I will. But the fact remains that the Honorable Minister of Interior is another pride of the city. You should ensure that this particular issue is looked into and ensure that the petitioner gets justice.
Justice at the end of the day. Mr. Salami, let's move on to... Meanwhile, the numbers are still open. You can join us, 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818-2222-205 or 0818-2222-206. Mr. Salah, this story on the front page of a leadership newspaper caught my fancy. Yuletide passengers groan as flight ticket to Southeast near 1 million naira. With less than 1 week to Christmas and 2 weeks to New Year celebrations, airfare to the Southeast route has hit the roof as return tickets sell for over 700 gets fares to the Southeast.
Well, we all know him. He's a no-nonsense man. Yes, this is not an excuse to fleece your customers. You cannot say because there is influx of people and that is an excuse for you to now hike the price. But even at that, I still want to believe that the Christmas is not your bomb and there is no policeman who will arrest you for not celebrating Christmas. Let's spend money on other basic things if we cannot afford to celebrate Christmas. And if we can, let us be disciples and followers of Christ. By celebrating the birthday of the man, it's not the only way. In actual fact, celebration and do that say, oh, this is Jesus-like or Christ-like. Jesus. This our country will be a better place for all of us. If you cannot go home on the substance and not the form, the 1 million, close to 1 million that you will use on airfare, spread joy. Let them too feel that yes, they are wanted, they are loved, and that their plight is of concern to other people. Let's spread joy in this.
Let's take a look at this story. Adeleke orders probe into 17-year-old sentenced to death over foul theft. And the story has it that the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has ordered investigation into the case of a boy sentenced to death by an Osun High Court. In the story from penpushing.com, because penpushing.com captured the story in a wider context. Using foul theft, Olowokere and Morakinyo committed armed robbery caught with arms. And the Osun State government's recent consideration of prerogative of mercy for convicted individuals has drawn significant attention and have invariably stirred public opinion based on incomplete or misleading narratives. While this action demonstrates the government's commitment to exercise compassion and upholding constitutional provisions, it is imperative that such privilege is not misinterpreted or misused.
You see, the sanctity of judicial decisions and putting out incomplete or sensational narrative. You see, this house must not collapse on our head. We need to be careful. Yes, the young man or the young boys, we should always be careful the way we put out stories, especially those of us who are who have the opportunity, to educate the people. We too must be well educated. We too must be mindful of the way we are putting out the story we are putting out, and we should achieve by doing this. We should stop politicizing everything. We must be very careful. The judiciary is a very, very respectable arm of the government. In fact, is the hope of the common man. The moment the trust on the judiciary by the people is shaken, then it's a clarion call to where we call the Obasian state. Everything short, brute,
and nasty.
And I hope we won't get there. What exactly is the story? Or what's this? With conspiracy, robbery, and stealing. And the overwhelming evidence against them was that without any iota of doubt, placed before the court, and the judge applied the law to the facts. Lawrence, it does not necessarily harmed. That is the operational word. The question was, were they armed? If you were armed, and what you went to steal was even a peanut or a bottle of groundnut, it does not matter. What matters in the eyes of the court, of the law, is what was in your possession. Lethal weapon. The judge found accordingly and sentenced them accordingly. It was for the conspiracy, yes, and for the stealing, they got some months. But of course, the judge applied the law. And fry your fowl, despite the fact that you were harmed. Let it be. But the judicial institution to apply the law as it is, not as they think it should be. Apply the law as it is, which they did. But the executive arm of the government, especially the governor of a state, has what they call prerogative. Governor Ademola Adeleke, they should not sense that the judiciary had in actual fact. It is not in the...
Always want to hear the juicy part of the story. I'm sure that a lot of people have been trying in the last 48 hours to put the correct version of the story in pub. Enjoy the rest of your day.